Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Claire and today I'm going to be talking to you about chamomile. So I'm really excited to share this plant with you because it's so readily available and pretty much everyone has had a bad experience with chamomile that you get from the store. You know what I'm talking about, right? You get the chamomile tea bags and it's just like dusty powder in the bottom and it doesn't even look like it was ever a plant, and you wonder if they just kind of like sweeped up the bits from the factory floor and gave it to you like that. You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. So I'm gonna try and convince you guys to go out and find really good, high quality chamomile so you have an amazing therapeutic benefit with it. So stay tuned. We're gonna talk a little bit about, as usual, what this plant does physiologically, what the personality of this plant is like, who it's really well suited to, and not a lot about safety, because guess what? Chamomile is really a safe plant for absolutely everybody except for someone out there who might have an allergy to it, and you probably already know. So let's get started. The background for why I wanted to do this video today for this week, for this herb of the week, is we have a full moon coming up on August 3rd. Now I'm not going to talk too much about the astrology of it because this is definitely the herbal side of what we're doing here, but I did kind of want to touch on the fact that we have the moon in Aquarius opposing to, with this T-square to the sun in Leo. I think about Aquarius and Leo, I mean, they're like two super stubborn beings, okay? Like two fixed signs, they both like to have it their way. They both think that they know the right way. So I was reading the chart for this full moon and I was like, good God, how is anybody going to have a constructive conversation? How are any of us going to find ways to liberate ourselves in the ways that we need to? But also, there's spicy girl energy out there, okay? We're all a little bit grouchy. And so I was thinking, again, if someone came to me in clinic with this kind of a pattern, you know, this is one of the plants that I would give to them. So I associate this plant with the sun. It is ruled by the sun and by Leo. So we have the sun tarot card here. This tarot card really just talks about illumination. You know, we say I see to indicate that we understand something. This is what this card is all about. This is the moment when a veil drops and we reach a new degree, a new level of maturity within ourselves. It's about staying connected to our inner child while not being childish. Okay, today is also Lughnasadh, so happy Lughnasadh to everyone out there. This festival, this celebration is all about the first harvest. So it's really about going out and enjoying what life has to offer, because nothing is permanent. So it makes it even more important to go out and enjoy it right now even more. So go do that, because the darkness of fall is just about to approach. So fill up your tank with good memories so that even when things feel really dire, you'll have something nice to remember. And remember that, again, nothing is permanent and it all comes back around. Okay, cool. That's it for like the esoteric background of the stuff. So let's talk a little bit more about the physiological stuff going on with this plant. So again, spicy girl hours are here. Everybody's feeling a little bit angry, a little bit like volatile. This is the person who needs chamomile. Okay, one of my favorite herbalists describes this plant as being for the angry 2-year-old in all of us. And I mean, if you've ever worked with an angry 2-year-old, you know that they don't want to listen to you. They have no concept of what's even wrong a lot of the times. It's just that they're really overstimulated. A lot is going on and they just really want to cry it out a lot of the times. This plant is so good for this person. There's a couple of reasons that it does this, and it does it really well. It's a nervine, so what that means is it has an effect on the nervous system. This plant will take things in the nervous system that are really overstimulated, and as a mild sedative, it'll just bring it back to a nice, calm, receptive level. This is where we want to be, and this is where we're able to hear and take in new information. It is also a spasmolytic. So again, with this transit that we're having, there's a lot of tension. There's a lot of squares and oppositions and a lot of really two powerful bodies not getting along. Again, this causes tension. To release that tension, you want something that is a spasmolytic, something that is going to help you release a little bit, you know, something that's going to come in and just give your body enough space to rest so that the muscles can strengthen themselves, so that they can go back to flexing when the time is right. But again, release is just as important as contraction. So this plant is also a diaphoretic. I have a really vivid memory of my grandma, my Nona, giving me this plant when I was a kid. I had terrible fever. I'm sure I was a grouchy 2-year-old. And she gave me chamomile and put me to bed. And I passed out for about 8 hours, which as a kid is like pretty significant, you know? I remember waking up feeling really refreshed. And this was, I think, the first experience I had ever had with chamomile. And it's such a special plant. It really is. I mean, there is something about it that I think has a reminiscence of childhood for a lot of people. A lot of people have had experiences with chamomile in their childhood, and it can kind of like bring those things back to us, again, restoring us to our inner child. So that's really nice. This plant is also, let's talk about the Latin binomial, Matricaria recutita. Okay, so Matricaria can be sort of, oh my gosh, my words just left me. Matricaria as in a matriarch. Okay, so the mother of the gut is how it's often described. This is totally true for this plant because there's so much that it does in the gut. Like, it's really kind of amazing. It's a spasmolytic, like we talked about. It's a carminative, so that'll help any sort of like griping, painful digestion. It's also a bitter, so this will stimulate all of your digestive enzymes. And it's very, very mild in this action. But it's also an anti-ulcer plant, which is very interesting because to me, this is kind of this energetic of, you know, bitterness can kind of, we have this association with you need bitter to digest sweetness, right? But bitterness kind of will stimulate a little bit more of what's going on, but as an anti-ulcer, it'll also come in and protect the mucosa and protect the mucous membranes. And it's interesting to me that it does both of these things at the same time because it's like almost counterintuitive. But again, this is why plant medicine is amazing, and plants are smarter than us sometimes, I think. So great, we love this. We love this for us. Let's see, it's also, like I said, a vulnerary. It's also an anti-allergic, and I have a sneaking suspicion that this has something to do with the fact that it is a vulnerary and it has that anti-ulcer action. So I'm not going to touch on this too much. It's a bit outside the scope of this video, but if you know what leaky gut syndrome is, it's the idea is that the permanence of, or the impermanence, wow, that the mucous membranes in the GIT are a little bit loose, and so food particles they think can go through, and then the system interprets that as a threat, so it creates a hypervigilant sort of system, and then you have allergic reactions to those foods. Matricaria, what I think is going on here is that because it comes and it heals and it restores the integrity of that mucous membrane, it really kind of does a reversal on that whole process. So it can really help anyone who's got really sensitive digestion, anyone who has a lot of like just a very complicated relationship to food. I also think about this for, again, this is someone who doesn't know what their digestion is going to do all the time when they're eating new foods. This is one of my favorite plants to give to them because it, again, it's got that carminative action, so it's going to help with any pain and bloating, but it's also going to really help dial back the entire pattern so that they don't have to think about it as much in the long term, which is really the goal, right? Awesome. Okay. I like to work with this plant in a number of different ways. One of my favorite ways to do it is with bath magic. So one of my friends in herb school, I'm going to link her Instagram down below, she taught me about making great big vessels of plant tea. So like maybe like 500 mils to a liter, and just like make it strong, like add a whole bunch, you know? And this is fine if you can't find really fine, or sorry, great quality chamomile. Again, this is gonna be a nice way to deliver it. But then brewing that really strong tea and adding it to your bath water. This is great for a number of reasons. One of them is that you don't get the cleanup of picking up herbal goo from your bath, which is, it's nice when you're in the bath, but when you're taking it out, it can just be a bit of a like, why did I do this? This isn't as relaxing as I wanted this entire experience to be. And it saves you that headache. But the other thing is that our skin is the largest organ in the human body, and it absorbs everything that we put onto it. So you're going to be absorbing those medical compounds through your skin and having that therapeutic benefit that way. But it's also an amazing skin herb. It really comes in and it heals any sort of angry, sore, fiery, red, again, itchy kind of situation on the skin. It's going to come in and totally help that. I really like using this plant for kids in this way, because if you've ever talked to a 2-year-old, again, you know that they don't want your tea. They're like, get out of here with that crap. So if you add this to their bath water Add a little bit of lavender. This is one of my favorite combinations. Put them in there right before bed. They're gonna soak it in that way and then go to sleep. And they won't know what hit them. So, I mean, there you go. Also for moms who are breastfeeding, this is a really fantastic plant for mastitis. So that's sore nipples and sore breasts. For anyone with a uterus who has really painful menstruation, this plant is fantastic for menstrual cramps. Combines really well with mugwort in that regard. You can check out that video on my channel if you are so inclined. And that's kind of about it, actually. Yeah, also sorry for mamas, this is great for morning sickness, which is really unusual. There's not a lot of plants that we can give to pregnant people, and it combines really, really nicely with ginger in that regard. So chamomile and ginger for morning sickness, really, really helpful, very safe. Again, unless you have an allergy to this plant, it's safe for everyone to use. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, guys. I really hope that this convinces you to go out and get some really nice quality chamomile. I'm gonna show you what that looks like, just so you have a visual. Okay, so you can kind of see, like, that was a flower at one point. Okay, you know what I mean? Like, there's these little flower heads, and this is what you want when you're looking for the tea that you want to be buying and spending your money on. That's what you want to be seeing, and that's a really good indicator for the quality of this plant. And you don't need much. When it's that type of quality, you really don't need much. 1 teaspoon for a cup of hot water. Again, cover it when you're steeping it so that all those volatile oils don't volatile out on the steam. And then have a couple of cups per day of that if you're feeling really, really overwhelmed in your nervous system, or just a nice cup before bed to help you sleep. So that's awesome. That's it, guys. Again, if you guys like this video, please give it a like. It really does help. And I will see you in your next reading or in the next herb video. Take care, guys. Bye.